It's crucial to ask yourself, are you living a life where you are providing the most positive impact that you can have on your business, on your family, on your community, on the world? This is your legacy. And whatever place that you're at in life right now, if you're at the height of your career, or you're just a graduate starting out, or you're a busy mom at home with a household, or you're enjoying retirement years, you have the opportunity to provide an influence. And that influence can be one that's life building, or it can be one that's negative and brings people down. So what is the legacy that you want to leave? That's what we're going to talk about today.
So let's start with the end in mind. What is it that legacy that you want? Let's make sure that it's not something that's, that negative legacy that you have, that you spend time thinking about it rather than just automatically going to that legacy.
Right. Well, and I think as entrepreneurs, we're driven, we're so busy in the day-to-day of our life that we don't sit down and think and plan of what do we want that legacy to look like. And many are just simply working toward retirement, or when can I sell my business and have the freedom to do what I want? But again, we're talking about, from my book, The Success Lie, how to go to living a life of intention versus living a life on automatic, because you don't want to go living automatically just without subconsciously through your life. And then all of a sudden life is done, because life is a gift. Every day is, and none of us know how long that we have. So why wouldn't we want to be thinking about our legacy today?
Right. And this legacy, it's about your employees, it's about your family, and it's about your friends, and what impact could you lead? And we just met with a group of business owners that really all they cared about was their legacy. It was a beautiful meeting.
Awesome.
And their legacy was creating vacations for pastors so that they could rejuvenate and re-energize. Another one focused on drug and alcohol and addiction in families. And another one actually didn't really have a focus. They took what their legacy was going to be, donated it to the National Christian Foundation in the name of each of their children, and then said, here's your gift. Go figure out how to donate it. And they were teaching their children philanthropy, which was their legacy.
I love that.
So there are so many ways you can do that.
It reminds me of the quote from Frederick Buechner that says, the place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. So really taking time and asking yourself, where is that passion of mine? And I like it when people talk about, what are the things that make your heart hurt? Because for everyone it's different. And in that meeting, there were people that had different passions about what was important to them. And we're part of another entrepreneur group where the leader of that group, Joe Polish, is so passionate about helping people with addiction. He fought with addiction for so many years in his own life that now he has created a Genius Recovery program, which is all about helping people get their life back and taking back control of their life who've had issues with addiction. And everybody has different passions. I mean, that is his passion, and that's such a blessing what he's doing. And we have somebody else in the group who came out of being incarcerated and just completely changed his life from a really difficult situation. And now he's going into the jails and doing programs to help these inmates really take back their power and their life. And I've always had a passion for helping women coming out of difficult situations and helping them get a hand up, not a hand out, but a hand up to get their life back. And all of us have different ways that we're really passionate and we can then help in the world. So thinking about that now, because you don't want to have a life of regrets at the end. So how do you build a life now where you're looking at that legacy now so that you don't have regrets?
And a great example is Bear Bryant, coach of Alabama Crimson Tide, one of the greatest football coaches of all times. He was fabulous, and he announced his retirement on December 31st, and 47 days later, he died. He had no legacy, he had no plan.
Wow.
But then you have somebody who was of the same era, same success, John Wooden. He retired at about the same time, and he lived to 99 years old because he had a legacy. He had a plan. He wanted to build up young men and women, and that's what he did. He had a plan. And yet they were both fabulously successful coaches, but one left a little early.
Right. That's a great example of how we need to plan ahead because we just don't know how much time that we have.
Right.
So there's 3 key mantras that we talk about in the book to think about when it comes to legacy, and they are choose it, live it, and celebrate it. So let's talk about choose it. So choose today what you want your legacy to be. Just like we talked about, don't wait because none of us know how long our lives are going to be. So we need to choose that now. Second is live it. Live your legacy today. Don't wait. Once you've determined what you want to be your legacy, then start now. And then finally, celebrate it. There's so much to be grateful for. So think about the legacy that you've received. When we talk about legacy, it's usually about the legacy that we think we're going to leave, but all of us have been given a legacy that's been passed down to us. So whether that in our minds has been good or bad, it's something that we can be grateful for. Because if we have a wonderful legacy, parents and grandparents who have really blessed us, that is a legacy to be grateful for. If we've had a situation where we've grown up in a home of difficulty, we can learn from that and be grateful too, because we can change that tide. We can change that cycle and build our own legacy. So we can be thankful for what we've learned. There's always something that we can be grateful for. So choose it, live it, and then celebrate it.
Right. And then start with the end in mind. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
So one of the things we want to do today is from this chapter and the workbook, share some questions for you to think about, to process, and to really focus on your own legacy.
Well, palliative nurse, this is a great example of how people get to the end of their lives and they have regrets. And the idea is to not have regrets. So palliative care nurse Bronnie Ware, she took notes after spending years with individuals that were on the last days of their life. And as she talked with these individuals and bless her for sitting with them at these last days, she began to ask them questions. And she started taking notes because she found that there was this interesting pattern and that individuals all seem to have the same set of regrets. So we want to mention what those regrets are, and then we want to ask you to think about them. So as we're going through each of these, think about if this is something that maybe you need to be aware of and keep in mind. So here's the top 5 regrets that she heard over and over. The first one is, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not what others expected of me. I'll say that again. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not what others expected of me. And this is one of the success lies from the book, is so often we buy into this concept of success based on what society tells us our life should look like, maybe what our parents have said, our community, other influential people in our lives, versus really understanding and knowing what success means to us and really living that life. That's a true meaning of what we want it to be.
Right. Yeah, you have to own it. And then the second one is, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And I think it really would be more about so much. It's, we all have to work hard.
Right.
If you don't work hard, you're not going to have a job. And so I think if you put work so many hours and focused on work rather than I worked so hard. So
and had a full, and so you lack then having a full and abundant life because it supersedes everything else is when you work so much. Lots of people with that regret and end up being estranged from their kids because dad was always at work, mom was always at work. So those kind of things. Number 3, I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. For some people, this is easy where they feel like they can communicate directly. But for many people, and you may be one of these as you're listening today, where you feel like you really haven't had your true voice, where you have more often than not to keep the peace, you've kept your mouth shut.
That's me.
Yeah, that's you. Yeah, that's you. When you do this, and he's being facetious, of course. So when this is done too often, you lose a part of yourself, and you lose this ability to truly become everything that you're capable of. So you need to be able to have the courage to really be who you are and express who you are with confidence.
And number 4 is, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. And we talked about the life wheel and friends and relationships. And this just really ties in is, friendships can build such a deep, rich life and it can create so many fun experiences. And, whether it's travel or just playing cards around the table or a fire pit that you're sitting there talking, there's so many things you can do with a rich friendship that is important. So.
Right. And it's very easy when you have other things that get in the way that you take those most important relationships for granted and you lose the intentionality around them. And community is just so important. It's such a richness, those relationships of life. When you think about just going through the pandemic and how that isolation just destroyed people. And it was because we need each other. We need people, we need community. And whether you're an extrovert and you love people around all the time or you don't, you still need relationship. It just may look different. You may have 1 or 2 really close friends and that gives you the richness that you need, or those relationships with your family, or you may have a much wider circle, but whatever that is, those friendships are important. You don't want that regret.
And then the final one she found was, I wish I had let myself be happier.
This one is sad.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? I just wish I could be happy. I mean, that's hard to digest, really.
Right. But so many people struggle with this. And so if you're someone where it's like, wow, I'm not living a life I love. I mean, this is my mantra that you'll see on my email signature. Isn't it time to live a life you love? Because I've been there, and you may think that you're there right now, where you have so much going on in your life, or you're living in the midst of a huge challenge right now, or you've been through trauma that you just feel like, am I ever going to get my joy back? Am I ever going to be happy again? And we need to find a way to do that. We need to find a way. And stay tuned. My book is coming out that I'm working on right now, Your Way Back to Happy. So if this is something that you're struggling with, that you feel like your mindset has really been a challenge, then this would be helpful to you. But you don't want to have that regret.
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about these questions. So reviewing this list of regrets, and I'll read them again, we're going to ask you these questions. So number 1, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not what others expected of me. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. I wish I'd let myself be happier.
So if you have the workbook, great. It's right here on page 20. If not, take out a blank journal. If you're driving, just ponder it instead. And if you're on the train or the bus, well, your choice. You can choose. But the first one is, what's your greatest regret? What's your greatest regret as you look back on your life that you've lived so far?
That's good. Okay, number 2. What do you want to change? So this is no longer an issue for you. So if you've really resonated with one of these regrets that we mentioned, or if there's something else that comes to mind, what can you do now to make a change in this area of your life? Take a moment and write that down.
And third, of the top 5 regrets that you listed, assuming you picked 5, what are 1 or 2 that just really resonate most with you as an area that, I probably need to watch this?
Maybe it's one that you're doing really well in, but you think, wow, I can have a tendency to just not make time for my friends. I'm so busy with my family right now that I'm really not fostering those relationships. Maybe you don't have a mentor in your life, or maybe there isn't anyone you're mentoring that you can. We always should have those 2 pieces, somebody who's mentoring us, often more than one person, and people that we're mentoring in our lives.
Good.
Yeah, so that's great. So as we come to the end of this chapter, talking about legacy, let me leave you with some personal thoughts from some of my clients when we did this exercise together in our leadership mastermind. So they said, I will give more and take less. I will speak into the lives of others. I love that one. I will ask myself, what is the right thing to do? Each one of us has more impact than we realize. That's powerful. Mm-hmm. If you're doing the right thing, the legacy part will take care of itself.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
So the decision is yours. You can continue to live on automatic and just kind of let things come as they are. And you don't know when life may end and you haven't really been intentional about the legacy you want to leave. Or you can take charge. You can be intentional now and be thinking about today, what is that legacy?
And I think for a bonus, we have another exercise.
Great.
It's start with the end in mind exercise. This is your favorite. Janelle, you normally get like a piece of paper that's 45 feet long and, all sorts of colors and pens and markers and stickers and, cut out magazines. It's kind of like a collage when it's done.
Right. It's
anyway,
fun.
Start with your end in mind. So you look at your life in a 100-year segment. I prefer the 150 because I'm going to live a lot longer than 100, but look ahead and imagine your life as a 100-year-old self. So wherever you are right now, from 0, probably not filling it out, to 90, and you're looking at the last little bit of your life, take the time, answer these following questions. So wherever you are today, based on your age, imagine at age 100, what do these questions look like?
Right. So as you're looking back at 100 years old on your many years of living, what have been your most meaningful experiences? So take a few moments now, go ahead and stop the video or audio so that you can think about that. What have been your most meaningful experiences that you've had as you look back on your 100 years of life?
Next, what have you accomplished that makes you so proud?
I love that. And that can be a number of different things.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
And then what legacy are you leaving for your children and for the entire world?
Such a big question. These are thought-provoking questions, you guys. So make sure that you take time with this. These can be questions that even pondering them over the course of a week would be helpful.
Yeah.
What do you want others to say about you when you leave this earth? It's kind of melancholy. I've seen people do the eulogy exercise where they've written their own eulogy, and that really can be sobering. But it's important to think about if somebody's having your service today, what would you want them saying about you? What kind of person are they describing? And how can you begin to live that now? So they're either going to say positive things, negative things, or what if they have nothing to say at all? Is that the print that you want to leave behind?
So you take these, you look back, you look forward, and you evaluate those, and you take time these are things like Janelle said, just spend some time chewing on it to digest these, because they're probably not something that you're going to instantly have an answer to. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's true. Well, I hope that you found this helpful and really thinking about life with the end in mind and with a legacy. And this is your time to be intentional and really to create your best life, the one that's going to leave an impact on your family, on your business, on the world. What do you want that to be? It's your choice, and you can begin living this legacy now because you're in charge of this one exciting life that you have.
And don't forget, click on the link for chapter 3 or chapter 5, which is coming up right after this, and keep on growing.
Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop to really help you grow in your leadership and level up your life and your mindset.
Watch one of these other videos, share with a friend, and don't forget, download the PDF from today's topics so that you can make sure to hold yourself accountable and take that action plan and use it.
Have a great day.